My favorite Jake review
Oh
was
boy.
about how much you look like Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon looks like me.
Good morning. I'm Molly, and I'd like to welcome you to The Angle, a GRS series highlighting our instructors shaping the 2026 class season. Let's go. My first question for you is for anyone who doesn't know, who are you and what do you teach at the GRS Training Center?
My name is Jake Newell, and I actually grew up in Emporia. My first 25 years of my life, I spent in Emporia, went to Emporia High School, went to Emporia State. I was at Emporia State. I found hand engraving because of the donation of GRS tools to the university there. So I was lucky enough to be there. It was my junior year in college. I was lucky enough to be there when they first started that engraving program, and got introduced to it, and have really I'm really thankful for it. It's been a great job and turned into a great career. As far as classes I'm teaching this year at the training center, we're looking at basic engraving, basic jewelry, scroll design and engraving, and then stylistic scrolls on rings.
Yes.
So that class covers a men's and a women's ring, which is something that's kind of right down my alley. These last couple of years, I do a lot of wedding bands.
So you've been building houses, but what have you been working on engraving wise?
I work for Reed's Jewelers. I do a lot of wedding bands and Rolexes mostly. So it's just been trying to crank out those. We had a busy. It's not only holiday season, but it's kind of show season. He goes out to the NFR National Finals Rodeo in Vegas, and that's always a crazy time for me, aside from Christmas. So yeah, just been cranking those out, and we've been doing some volunteering down here in South Texas, and just enjoying the weather and trying to do some good stuff while we're enjoying traveling.
Is there anything you've worked on that's like, oh, this was really fun. I'm really enjoyed this one, or is it pretty much what you're used to working on?
Yeah, we built a house kind of from start to finish in early January in a place called Alice, Texas. So that's always a great project for us.
While you've been on the road, what's the best restaurant or meal that you've had? No. Sandwiches?
We never
You
we never go out
never
to
eat?
we, no, I mean we never go
Not
out to
even
eat.
for
We
your
never go out to eat.
anniversary?
Okay, so no, but we never go out to eat like but sometimes when we're on a project, uh, some like church ladies or church groups feed us.
Oh,
Um,
better
and
anyhow.
yeah, we go to the hill country in Texas, and this group of ladies, Methodist ladies, they make what they call funeral sandwiches. Have you ever had these?
No. I've heard
Okay,
of like funeral potatoes. What are funeral sandwiches?
yeah, funeral sandwiches. So I have some theories as to why they're called funeral sandwiches. My biggest theory is, I mean, I think they serve them at funerals. I think that's the answer. I think the
Okay.
reason they call them funeral sandwiches is because they bring you closer to your own funeral, because there's nothing good in these things. Okay. So you're talking like ham and cheese on like the Hawaiian roll, Hawaiian rolls. Okay. And then
Mm-hmm.
if that wasn't enough, they're tasting them with butter and honey, and then they're baking
Ooh.
them. Yeah, so they're ooey and gooey, and I would say that's probably my favorite meal that we've had out there. Said we're in South Texas. They make a spaghetti. They call it. It's like a Texas spaghetti, King Ranch casserole. King Ranch casserole is what they call it, and
Mm-hmm.
we get that a lot. I actually like quite enjoy that. So, all the carbs, all the carbs.
Today's video is sponsored by Overcut Anonymous, safe space for people who went just a little too far. If you've ever told yourself one more cut will fix it, only to realize it did not, you're not alone. Overcut Anonymous believes mistakes aren't failures. They're just lessons that came a little bit deeper than planned. No judgment, No shame, just quiet nods from people who understand. Overcut Anonymous, because sometimes the fix is learning when to stop. What's your favorite class to teach?
Scroll design and engraving, I think, is my favorite class, obviously. That's a class, as I was coming up as an engraver, I just feel like I needed that class and nobody really presented the information to me in that simple way that I needed. So that's what I try to do in that class is just present the what can be very complex in scroll design, ornamental design, and try to break it down and present it very simply for the students so that they can understand. Because as you know, a lot of engravers are very, very overwhelmed by drawing their own designs, drawing their own scrolls. And that's kind of the purpose of that class. And I think I enjoy most seeing the light bulb go off for people when they start to really understand the concepts that we're trying to present.
What's something that you really see basic students struggling with when they come into your classes?
Just basic understanding and also confidence. I think people are pretty apprehensive. You kind of get presented with different challenges depending on which class you're talking about. You know, I have a lot of people in my scrolls class that say, "Oh, I can't draw. I can't do anything. I can't do this." And then, you know, by the end, hopefully they are gaining some confidence and understanding of what they need to do to be able to do that. Also, with the basic classes, just people are really apprehensive. They don't think they can do it. And just that confidence, gaining that confidence throughout the week, I think is the biggest thing in a basic class. So.
What do you think do you think it's the confidence or what do you think they're most apprehensive about?
Just maybe new situation. It's hard to tell. Everyone's so different. And those, you know, some people come in ready to go and they're like, I'm going to do this. You know, I want to quit my job. I want to become an engraver. And other people are more into the hobby side of things. So it's hard to tell exactly where they're at. And that's kind of my job to try to figure that out. I went to school to be a teacher. So it's kind of like you have a special adaptive plan for each student in your class, which is actually it's one of the fun parts of my job is trying to get all of these different people who learn differently and who have different motivations to be there and try to gel them all together and get them to where they need to go at the end of 5 days. So it's a cool part of my job.
That was one of my questions because I feel like you're very laid out and structured. Like you have your list that you go down. What do you consider to be your teaching style?
My teaching style is little bite-sized chunks. I try to give them a little bit of information at one time and try not to overwhelm them. Very structured style, like you said. When you come into my class, you'll have a schedule up on the board about what we are going to cover that day. Sometimes I'm a little ambitious as to what we might cover that day, but every single day I will have mapped out. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. Some people learn a little differently than that, a little more chaos, less structure maybe, but I would say most people kind of respond well to that style of teaching. So, but it will be well thought out. It will be well planned out, and there will be a series of steps we go through to try to get you to where you want to go. And the other thing I would say is, I just try to introduce people to a lot of different things. I don't try to funnel them into one certain style of engraving or one certain style of tool that they may use. I try to present everything that they may encounter in their engraving experience and try to get them to be as well-rounded at the end of the week as they possibly can. So.
Yeah, as we both know, that's a challenge in itself because there's so many tools. So many tools.
Yes. Yep. But that's a fun part. That's a cool part too. So there's no absence of tools in the training center. And it's your job to sort them all out.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy the hands-on part of it. Yeah. I had two questions that branched off of that. One, do we get a schedule in dance time this time for the training center? just like a 10-minute break, like dance party. I'll come in, I'll bring some drinks around to your students.
I think some would actually respond well to that. Some would.
I know. Number two is, what is your favorite section of your planned out?
One of the most fun parts is, getting through the necessary things, how to use a microscope, how to sharpen engravers. And then once we kind of get through that stuff, we try to cover most of that Monday, Tuesday. But there's a certain point in time where basic students have what they need to be able to engrave and actually engrave designs. And there's kind of a creative switch towards the end of the week where they can take their projects. Like for my basic class, we have a knife project. We have a pendant project, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want to work on. So seeing that switch to, hey, I've learned how to engrave. Now I can kind of apply this to something. I think the application process is probably my favorite. Seeing the surprise at the end of the week when they came in with zero experience, seeing how happy they are at the end of the week where they just can't believe what they just did, as far as their project or whatever. So that's probably the best part. And then seeing, maintaining contact throughout the years and seeing some of them come up and become great engravers and stick with it. So I think as far as a legacy thing, I think that's a cool part of that as well.
I would say that's a cool part of our industry in general, is it's a pretty tight group, a niche market. So it is one big family. We joke about the GRS family, but it really is like recognize a lot of people in the group, which is cool.
Yeah, my whole take is like someone took the time to set me aside and teach me how to do all this. And the main reason I teach at the training center is someone took that time to help me, and I'm going to take that time to help others. So that's my biggest motivation to be there in teaching.
Do you want to give any shout outs to any mentors, Jake?
Well, my first basic class was with Rex. Christy Camillus taught at the training center at the time. He was the huge part of my engraving career. He really took me under his wing. Fantastic engraver. And I honestly wouldn't be here without him. So that was awesome. He was the fill-in instructor at the university at that time. So I owe a lot to him as far as my career. And I think I've taken myself 12 to 14 GRS classes. So having all those instructors, the Sam Alfanos, the Diane Scallis, I mean, you're talking about people that are in the top of their trade. I mean, the best of the best. And all of those folks just teaching me along the way, getting me as much variety as I could so I could be, like I said, a well-rounded engraver. That has helped my career so much, to be able to do lettering, to be able to do bright cutting. That's made such a difference in my career and being able to jumpstart my career. So, and then the people at the training center like you, Molly, and then the sales reps and, Joel and creative.
Jake is just trying to brown nose because we had some bloopers from earlier.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
His work is cut out for him.
All right. So my next question for you is, what's something that students are usually surprised by once they get to the training center?
I think most students are just surprised by the facility. It's huge. It's spacious. Top of the line tools. I see a lot of students come in, and the first thing I see, you see this too, they're taking pictures of their bench. It's just a fully stocked bench. Everything is clean and brand new. I mean, and you have 6 feet of space between benches. I think they're just in awe of the facility. The facility itself is just something that you can't wrap your head around, that something like that exists in Kansas. And it's I love Kansas. I love Kansas. But the facility itself, I think they're also surprised I always say, like, if you can write your name or if you work with your hands at all, like you can engrave. And I think people are surprised how much they can gain in a few days, especially the basic class. Just the foundation of what you need. By the end of 5 days, you have everything you need to be able to engrave. Now, the problem is you're going to have to practice. You're going to have to stick with it. And that's where we lose some people, is they get busy with kids. They get busy with life. And that's totally understandable. But if you stick with it, you're going to have the foundation after 5 days to get where you need to go. Now, obviously, as you get down the line, you're going to have to do kind of what I did, is go back for those intermediate to advanced classes and stay with it. But yeah, after 5 days, you'll be able to engrave. And if you stick with it, it can take you a long way.
Yeah. Were there any, so we do the student reviews after all the classes. Were there any student reviews that have stuck with you over the years? I know what mine is.
Oh, well, you can share that, or maybe you can't.
Yeah, I totally can.
The reviews that stick with me are the ones that communicate that I'm doing everything that I'm setting out to do. If you want to teach these classes in the correct manner, in a really good way, it takes a lot of work, a lot of prep work, I spend a lot of time engraving in my microscope, thinking about how I can better teach certain concepts in my classes. I'm constantly thinking about it. So I think the reviews that stick out the most to me are the ones that I've just tried so hard to do a good job of as I teach. So like if someone says, Jake took something very complex and he broke it down into very easy, simple to understand things. And the other ones that stick out is I try to be very personable and approachable in my classes. I really try hard to make students feel comfortable. That's really important to me because I don't feel like they can get the information they need or get where they want to go if they aren't comfortable in the environment that they're in. Mm-hmm. So being personal, being approachable, if I see that in a review, I'm kind of breathe a sigh of relief because I know that people felt comfortable in a relaxed environment where they could feel like they could learn what they need to learn.
Yeah. My favorite Jake review was about how much you look like Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon looks like me, for the record.
Right.
No, and as you were talking about Kevin Bacon.
Yes. As you were talking about that, the first thing that popped into my head is, I know it catches a lot of flack from some people, but ChatGPT, I am constantly throwing ideas in there like, okay, what if we do this? Then how would I break that down? What can make it better? Do you use any tools like that to help you develop your classes, or do you just have like an ongoing notebook?
No, I don't. I'm not into the AI much yet. I need to be. No, I think I start out with the foundation, especially with basic classes, you start out with a foundation and, it's trial and error. I don't know how many classes I've taught now, probably 50 classes or something like that. But, you learn things along the way. The other thing that I pay a lot of attention to is the group that's with me in the moment. So I really do adapt my classes based on how everything's going, how I think they're retaining the information, and just adapt and go wherever we need to know. If I need to slow down a little bit, I'll slow down. If I need to speed up a little bit, I'll speed up. One of the things I ask my students the first day they come in is like, why are you here? What are you expecting from this experience? And as they answer that question, I jot some things down. If it's something class related, I'll try to cover it. If it's not class related, I'll try to talk to them outside of class time and try to get those questions answered for them. But yeah, just being able to adapt to the group that is presented in front of me is a big part of that. If anyone has any specific questions about any of my classes as they look through the training center, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you would like. and I'm answering class questions all the time. I don't mind to do that. If you don't hear from me within a day or two, please just reach out again because it means I didn't see it. So don't hesitate to reach out, ask me questions about specific classes.
I do think that's an important note because there are a lot of people who will jump online and enroll that way. But I really do think there's value to calling in and talking to a salesperson because they do know the different instructors' teaching styles. Or like we had somebody tag me in a post on Facebook about someone who wanted to learn like motorcycle style engraving. And I'm like, okay, well, a basic Western is really going to be kind of your best bet because they're making those heavy, bright cuts. And there's just little nuances that you wouldn't know as a beginner. So I do think that holds a lot of value is reaching out to the instructors, whether it's on Instagram or if you run into them at a show or just calling GRS and kind of reaching out.
Yeah, definitely do your homework because we all teach a little differently. Like if you email me and ask me what you're going to learn in class, I can send you pictures. I can show you exactly what we're going to do. And but look at Facebook stock or Instagram stock these instructors. Look at their style of work, see if you like it, and then try to catch like these videos that you're doing, which are awesome, to try to get to know these people and figure out their teaching style and. Just do your homework. And like you said, sales folks are just great resources. They know all of us well, and they can fit you in exactly where you need to be.
Thank you for spending time with us this morning. We hope you stay tuned for the newest episode of The Angle with our next instructor.